Oh, there's Annie. Okay. Okay, yeah, you ready? Oh, it is recording.
Welcome to Canoe Church, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. We are a forward-leaning expression of Christianity with the individual's expression of their faith as well. Announcements?
We have a couple of announcements in just a second. There are things out in the dining room on the table that we had set up for the yard sale a couple of years ago, and then COVID happened and we didn't finish the yard sale. If there's anything out there that you want, please take it. It's all free because it's going to my neighbor's closet after today. The other announcements, I don't have a bulletin, sorry.
For Christmas Eve service at 7, I'm assuming that's the time we were going.
Sounds good.
That's what it's always been. I didn't know if it's going to be any serious change.
Unless you want to do it at midnight, you can always do it at midnight.
No.
Ours isn't at 5 o'clock, it's at 7. 7 o'clock Christmas Eve service at 7 o'clock.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's 7 o'clock. Oh, there's a great cookie giveaway today. Do we need volunteers to light the candle? Does anybody want to volunteer for today?
Because if not, I'll tell someone to.
I'll ask you to light the candle.
Next week we'll just pull straws. Whoever has the shortest.
No. I'll tell you. Okay. Any other announcements? It's Christmas season. We're all losing our marbles. Then find a bowl to roll them down. So, opening prayer hymn 134. Emmanuel, Emmanuel.
Listen to the prophet Isaiah. A shoot shall come out from the stump of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. The Spirit of the Lord shall rest on him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and the fear of the Lord. He shall delight to be in the fear of the Lord. He shall not judge by what his eyes see, or decide by what his ears hear, but with righteousness he shall judge the poor and decide with equity for the meek of the earth. He shall strike the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips he shall kill the wicked. Righteousness shall be the belt around his waist, and faithfulness the belt around his loins. The wolf shall live with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the kid, the calf and the lion and the fatling all together, and the little child shall lead them. The cow and the bear shall graze, and their young shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the nursing child shall play over the hole of the asp, and the weaning child shall put his hand in the adder's den.
They will not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, for the earth will be full of knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea. On that day, the root of Jesse shall stand as a signal to all the peoples. The nations shall inquire of him, and his dwelling shall be glorious. Advent is about peace, and we do so long for peace. We live in a world of chaos and discord. The trademark of our time is violence. In a nation awash in guns, we continue to raise our children on myths of machoism. Our movie heroes are tough-talking, gun-wielding muscle men. Our streets are dangerous. Our civil dialogue has given way to abusive rhetoric. And a routine trip through a busy intersection is often enough to give us a glimpse of at least one other driver's middle finger. In all of it, we do long for peace.
The state of our minds often mirrors the state of our world. We juggle hyperactive schedules, fragmented families, and hypersensitive pressures. We worry about our children. We agonize over how to care for our parents, and no job seems secure. Our choices of antacid are outnumbered only by our spiritual options. We grasp for gurus, scan self-help books in serial confusion. Stress is the name of our days, and we do so long for peace.
Now we will light the candle. We will light the candle of hope and of peace. 2. Surely the peace of our world starts with the peace of a heart. We are reminded that there is a peace of God which passes all understanding at the core of each of us if we will only listen. There is a still small voice which can calm our fears, quiet our lives, and dispel our desperation. At the heart of each of us, if we only seek it, there is a spirit that rests in the grace of God, and the assurance at the center of our lives contains the chaos at the edges. The Spirit of God is also the hope of the world. Peace can come only when we can understand each other, knowing that God's Spirit makes us truly one. In the eyes of even a murderer, I can see my own anger. In the face of a terrorist, I can see my own desperation. In the breast of my enemy, I can feel my own fear. Peace is possible because we share that one spirit that rests in the presence of God. Not one of us is a stranger to the other. Every passion or malice that might separate us, I can find and recognize in my own heart. And so our differences lose their force. We are one with each other, one with God, and that is a peace beyond the power of any stress or violence that can assault us. As we await the bringer of peace, the peace of God is already with us. Let us pray. Prepare the way, the promise is come. The lion shall dwell with the lamb. Prepare the way, the old will with the young. A child shall teach us to stand. Prepare the way, make the path straight. Earth shall fill her deep valleys. Prepare the way, break down the walls of hate. The way is approaching, servants keep watch. Soon we will see the salvation of our God. Amen. Amen. We are to sing one candle lit, verse 1 and 2. Page 128. The title of the message is Peace Is, but before that we will sing the hymn of praise, 136. Christians all, the Lord is coming. 136. And if you would like to stand. The title of the message again is Peace Is. And I ask the question, what is peace? We hear it every day, peace here, peace there, peace in the Middle East, peace in Russia and Ukraine. But I ask the question, what is peace? For the ancient Greeks and Romans, peace was more important in theory than in practice. These were the first sentences of the definition of peace in my dictionary of biblical imagery. They, the Greeks and Romans, deified the concept in the goddess Prex. And she was a youthful female holding in her left hand the horn of plenty, the cornucopia, and in her right hand the olive branch of peace. Biblical peace is a key characteristic of God. Political peace is when two nations pledge to do no harm to the other. Peace in a figurative expression can be found in almost every one of our actions that we do in the day. I think one can find a moment of peace simply by eating a candy bar and taking a time out and sitting down and eating a candy bar. Walking or reading, or with a loved one of someone of your family, or even in this Christmas season. You kind of get the picture. We have moments sometimes when we have peace, or what we consider to be peace. Is it found in one's attitude or one's perception of how he perceives his or her situation? But the question is, do we find peace as we live our lives? How many of us think our lives as peace? That we are living in the reality of peace as we live our life? We get some smiles out loud. That's too much. Right? Life requires us to be present, and that is not always in a peaceful way. Yes, we can find moments of peace, but do we really understand what peace is? What is our perception of peace? Are we even capable of understanding what God is talking about when he says peace in our hearts? This newfound peace, this new place that we're talking about through this Advent season? Or is it, as the Greeks and Romans thought, it's just more important in theory than in practice? I think we hold that theory of peace up. Like, we like that idea of peace, and we all want to embrace it. But when it comes down to practical use in our daily life, we find it very difficult and very hard to understand. One of the things that I've noticed, and even in my son, sometimes he'll say, in his expression when he goes to leave somebody, he says, peace out, and he gives us a little signal, it's like hip-hop type of thing. I always say, just kind of whatever, it's a thing of the day. In my day, would have been far out, groovy, that type of stuff. But, you know, they have different expressions today, so and that's okay. But if you were asked, what would you say peace is? And how would you describe it? Is it describable? Does peace simply mean no war? Or no disturbance in our lives? The definition of peace, as I looked it up in the dictionary, is freedom from disturbance, tranquility. How many tranquility, peaceful moments do we have? Even in our dreams, sometimes there's a lot of things going on. And you know, in our thoughts, when can we actually be tranquil? What does that word even mean? I mean, how do we even grasp the idea of it? Is peace a state of mind? Can we convince ourselves we are at peace within ourselves? Can we convince ourselves of that? Say, yeah, I'm peaceful. Yeah, I'm calm. Yeah, wow. Yeah, we're peaceful, right? Yeah. Peace is a way of keeping ourselves centered. Can we see peace as an ingredient in our life? Not really a substance or a thing. Can it be seen as a spirit or an essence? We lit the candle of peace, and it gives off light. So is it kind of that way? In the four readings that I'm not going to read, I'm going to refer to them. We read the one in the reading for the candle lighting part of it in Isaiah, and that's going to be the main part of the message that I'm going to refer to. But in Matthew 3, 1 through 12, Jesus is referring to the beginning of this new way of thinking, this new idea by saying that John the Baptist is crying from the wilderness, and everybody's to repent and to turn from and do something different. Meaning that it will no longer be. The old ways will be taken down. And the symbolism Jesus is referring to is cutting the tree down. The axe is getting ready to be swung, and the tree, or this idea of the old age, is going to pass away. And he says that every idea or tree that doesn't produce fruit will be cut down. So the symbolism in the Bible, as I said many times, the use of the word tree is usually about an idea. An idea has many branches, and a tree produces fruit. That's the spirit, the essence of the idea. So it is used throughout the Bible in many, many different ways along the way. So if one was to listen to all the conversations that you had throughout the week, that you sat down and you rerun them, all the conversations that you have, and that you had, you listen to the news and religious shows or whatever you listen to, how many of those ideas actually produce fruit? How many of those things that you run through your head and the thoughts that you have, whether negative or positive, actually produce fruit? Or are they just a lot of hot air and thought?
Yeah.
That's the essence of it. Yep. The truth of the matter is, it's a lot of hot air and thought. So a lot of ideas never take root. And so what Jesus is saying, these ideas that don't necessarily take root will be thrown in the fire and burned. We've gotten rid of it. And really, that's what happens. As we forget them. They move on and they cool off. The hot air that comes out of our mouth cools down, and it's no longer, it doesn't go very far, right? Or even it comes out in a voice. It bears no fruit. So that's the general gist of the idea that in the reading of Matthew 3, 1 through 12. Romans, Paul is referring to the reading in which we have read, and which I will refer to. And he is saying that the days of the old ways of believing and living will soon be no more. The psalmist reading of Psalm 72 was about how the psalmist took refuge within his God, with his idea of the God. He found refuge and securement and peace when he centered himself in that idea. Isaiah's reading is really something that is a lot more complicated. We read it, I said, as it's about the shoot that comes out from the stump of Jesse. And this verse, this section of Isaiah has been with me from childhood. We have read it many times throughout the year as I was growing up. It's kind of a part of a pastor's way of looking at things. And for some reason, we have read this passage many times. But the idea, even as I began my thinking life, the idea of a stump that shoots out a tree branch from it really was kind of an oddity to me. It's like I saw lots of tree stumps, but I didn't see very many shoots coming out of the stump. So it was something that I as I would hear in the church and I would go out and look in the woods, it would be an oddity for sure. And the idea that oxen and the lions would be eating straw. I never understood why they said straw. And you know, as a farmer, we never fed cattle straw, we fed them hay. Straw was used for bedding, and really it was nothing. Straw is, in case you don't know, is the leftover stem from the grain is harvest. Not the chaff, but it's a stem, it's a hollow stem. And it's used for bedding. And it's wheat straw is nice and yellow. And there's nothing more beautiful than having your pens all cleaned up and your cattle, and you throw all this yellow straw down, and your cattle are laying down, and nice and comfortable and peaceful. And it's used for bedding. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sight. The black and white cow, you know, the yellow straw. I can remember the few times when that happened, because straw is always dependent on a tall stem. And if you had a good year, you had a tall stem and lots of straw. If you didn't, you had a short stem and you didn't have much straw. So I never really understood this idea, but yet it stuck out. Now I have seen shrubs and bushes grow different branches. You cut them down and they would grow again, and that's okay. But I never, for some reason, all my life, this idea has been in my head. Daniel 5 gives us a good example of how to understand the meaning of a tree stump. when he refers to King Nebuchadnezzar, and he says that Daniel interprets his dream. It's about a tree that gets cut off and capped. Well, some say capped, some say put a ring around it. But the idea is plainly understood there that King Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom would be short, cut off. So by the symbolism is meaning that his power will be cut off and for a time. So the symbolism of a stump in the Bible is about a kingdom or a power that's cut short. It's cut off. So the stump of and a new sprout coming out beside it is a new growth that comes out and says from the root. It doesn't say from all the roots. Now in Daniel, they say about pulling the whole roots out of the ground, so it won't be no more. But if you leave the stump, symbolically leave the stump in the ground, it can sprout. So that's the symbolism. So that means that the kingdom will come up again. Now there is another way that you can graft onto a stump. The way I hear is that you can split the stump open and you can put a sprag in the middle of it. And if you know what you're doing, you can get a different tree to grow out. So it's not real clear whether or not in some translations, whether or not the shoot is coming out of the root, out of the ground, or if it's grafted into the top. So that's a distinction that you have to figure out between translations. But most translations say it's attached to the root on the side. So what do I think is happening? So it talks about, you know, this new root, and the word branch is always capitalized. And that was another thing that always caught my eye. Why is the word branch capitalized? And even in the Old King James, most of your translations, right in the very first verse, it says, "The shoot will come out from the stump of Jesse. From his roots, a branch will bear fruit." So there's the branch is capitalized, and this is the Christian understanding of it is that this is referring to Jesus. That the shoot is alongside of that is referring to Jesus, and the Spirit of the Lord will rest on him, and on it goes about how this person who we refer to as Jesus is the shoot that comes out to the side. So my question is, so now you have a stump, and you have a sprout that comes out along the side. Now, if that is the stump of Jesse, what does that mean? That means to me that the Israelite kingdom is going to be cut off, doesn't it? It means that that's going to be cut off, and a new sprout on the side is going to come out, attached to one of the roots. Now, some people would say that that means that refers to the kingdom of David and that whole lineage that Jesus comes through the Jewish and Israelite kingdom. But I'm not quite so sure about that. I'm thinking that this is a new way of thinking, and the old way is cut off because it's not generally thought of as attached to the top. It's usually, I will go along with the idea that the sprout comes out along the side, attached to a root. This is the root of Jesse. Don't say the roots of Jesse. It says one root. So if I'm going to tie that back, and if I'm going to look at it, I'm going to take what the Hebrew writer wrote in Hebrews and says that she or he ties that all the way back to Abel. That one root goes the whole way back to Abel and the blood of Abel crying out from the ground. And the Hebrew writer says that Jesus will bring a new blood. Jesus' blood is different than Abel's. It's much more. Abel's blood was looking for revenge or justice. Jesus is attaching to that, according to the Hebrew writer, and giving us something more, of freedom, of forgiveness, grace, and mercy. A new way of thinking altogether. So the idea that Abel's idea, or this person Abel, was cut off. We all know the two sacrifices of Cain and Abel. That Abel's idea or thought of being blessed, which is the way I see the difference between Cain and Abel is Cain was looking for a blessing. Abel was already living in the blessing because he gave up the fat of the land and what have you, of his animals. So that's a symbol of that he was living in the blessing. So this idea that we're living in the blessing and that peace has been cut off right from the very beginning. And that's why I attach Jesus back, the whole way back to Abel. And if you want to go on back further, you go back into Canaan, Adam and Eve, and back to God, on back through. So Jesus is attached to a line and a lineage outside of the Jewish Israelite faith. And that goes in common, some people would probably not agree with that, who are Zionists and all that stuff. But I see Jesus as, yes, he may be attached somewhat to the Jewish Israelite faith, but I wonder sometimes whether he is really in the inside of himself a Jew. Because right from the beginning, Matthew says he taught something different. He wasn't like a regular rabbi or a regular Pharisee. He taught something different right from the very beginning. So his idea is attached to something different. And this idea has been rolling around my head, and I never really had the nerve to say it very much because it's, that Jesus is attached back through to Abel and brings alive Abel's understanding. It's maybe a little difficult to understand. I don't think so. I think most people here are smart enough to understand what I just said without any problem. I'm not trying to put under the importance of the Israelites in the Jewish faith. It's just that it's not the whole picture. And Jesus gives us the whole picture. And so if you want to get the whole picture, then you have to go back further, you have to look at it further, you have to look at it broader and be more inclusive, and you have to go in that avenue because Jesus is more inclusive. Jesus came to save the world. And thus the idea that I shared recently about the world being the church, or moving to that idea in a broader sense, that the church is not a denomination or not a particular group, but it is all of humanity. And so we start moving in that direction. I think Jesus moves us in that direction. And so when it was referring to the wolf living with the lamb, and back and forth it goes, it is about the enmity that was placed between the domestic animals and the wild animals. There's always been this enmity between the two. The wild animals want to eat the domestic ones. And this time is coming of great harmony when that's not going to happen. So this is trying to picture that idea that the wolf no longer is going to eat the lamb. There's no going to be no enmity no more. Now, if you read it in Genesis, when they came out of the garden and so said curse, there was enmity put between them and us. And that will be removed. And that's what this is trying to portray. This new way of thinking is removing that enmity, and so there's going to be harmony and peace. Peace that we don't understand. I just saw a thing on the news where a coyote took a little kid. The parents took a little kid down, and the kid was walking around or was in a carrier, and a coyote came up and grabbed the kid and tried to run off with the kid. It just happened this week. Can you imagine that? And it was in a town, wasn't it? It was like in a town. And they had a picture of it. So what Isaiah is looking forward to, that this enmity like that is not going to exist. There's going to be peace between nations, between people, between thought, between, So the idea, and the only way that I can really come up with the idea about the ox eating straw and the lion eating straw, because lions don't eat straw, they don't eat hay. Another time I read that they eat grass like a dog when their stomach is upset. That's it. So the idea is that both are going to eat something different. Even the most least valued thing, which is straw, will suddenly have value. Something we threw away now will have value. And the ox and the lion will eat that. It'll become valuable. So the idea is that there will be neither harm nor will it destroy on my holy mountain, or for the earth will be filled with knowledge of the Lord, and the waters will cover it. The waters is an idea of our spirit will fill the sea, and everybody, there'll be this great harmony coming at some point in time. I really don't know when this will come. No one really knows. Jesus says no one really knows, not even him. So it's really a hope into the future. Advent is really about the hope into the future. Hope of peace. Next week I think joy and love. All these elusive things that we want so much, but yet what are they? No one can really tell me. How do you define all four of these different kingdoms that we're on life? Or even what Christ taught, the center here. How do we define it? How do we make an objective understanding of it? They're so fluid and full of spirit and applicable in many different ways, in many different situations in our lives. And I find that somewhat kind of gives me peace, that I can think differently, you can think differently, everybody can think differently. We just have to respect each other, which is the shortage of that too. So I will close, and I will say that I do agree with the Greeks and the Romans in my original statement, that sometimes these ideas are more workable in theory than they are in practicality in our lives. And we can hold on to the hope of peace in our hearts as a guiding star. These things can be our guiding star, something we look forward to or look up to and try to adhere to. So I will close with the statement I just made. We can hold the hope of peace in our hearts as a guiding star. Amen. Union is back as well as the offering plate. Josiah is not going to play the Winter Rose. Thank you, O God, for the many blessings that you give us. in many different ways. One of them, or some of them, are in this offering plate. Let each one be, however they gave, in the husband's praise. In Jesus' name. The hymn of invitation of communion, I'm sorry, is 413. Take our bread. 413.
Stand at the table you set, yours as we eat the bread our hearts can't forget. We are yours, we are yours. Take our bread, we ask you to take our hearts, we love you, take our lives, oh Father, we are yours, we are yours. Your holy people standing washed in your blood, spirit-filled yet hungry, we await your food. We are poor, we run ourselves that we can. We are yours, we are yours. Take our bread, we ask you, take our hearts. We love you, take our lives.
The Lord's table is a welcoming table. It welcomes everyone, no matter where you are in your walk of life. And on the night when Jesus was betrayed, he took a loaf of bread, he blessed it, broke it, and said to his disciples, "Eat all of you, for this represents my body broken for all." Thank you, Lord, for the bread of life, and may our sins be forgiven. And again, Jesus took the chalice, and he poured some wine into it, and he said to his disciples, "Drink all of you, for this is my life poured out and given for all, a new life. Help us, oh God, to live this new life. We are commanded by Jesus, as often as we eat this meal, to remember and to reflect on God's goodnesses and mercies. And God's Holy Spirit, we are to share this meal together as we gather. Until the time we can eat this meal, each one of us face to face with our Lord. Joys and concerns. Colleen is not here today because she pulled a muscle in her leg real bad. I don't know what kind of muscle, but on her whole leg, she was walking with crutches last night and crawling up and down the steps, and I think she just overdid herself. Today now she was using a cane and she managed to walk up and down the steps slowly, one step at a time. She needs to slow down a little bit. She's been climbing up and down and doing things. You know how it is. You move the wrong way and all of a sudden there it is. And I think that's what happened to her. So she's okay, she's doing better. Any others?
Concerned the family of Robert Wood, he passed away this last week. I used to work for him years ago.
Robert Wood?
Robert Wood. Joy, this week has been filled with joys and driving me crazy, but
joy that drives you crazy. Now that's a phrase I'm gonna hang on to. I think joy, is it joy next week? Joy that drives us crazy.
Cindy was up and helped me switch from fall to Christmas decorations in the house, which I didn't realize I had so many fall things out, and I knew we had way too many Christmas. So it was a great undertaking, but then this weekend, our son and daughter-in-law and granddaughter from upstate New York, near Watertown, came down and visited. Our daughter from down New York came up from her husband and visited. And grandchildren here and their children came and visited. And I never think the house is totally lonely, but it is pretty big for the two of us. It's way too small for that.
I guess that's one of the drawbacks that have a super large family. Oh, somebody coming back.
Well, we had 4 dogs, 2 kids under 10, one that was 11, and so it was total chaos.
But it was joy, right?
Yeah, it is. But all of
no peace, joy, joy and love. Okay, any others?
Fortunate.
Calvin?
And they slowly become, so that's good.
What happened to Meg? Can you share that?
With who?
What happened to Meg? Can you share that?
She had a large lump removed from the abdominal area, and then when they were in there, they took out her gallbladder. So it was pretty dangerous surgery.
Yeah.
And so again, slow but sure.
Yeah, Janice was here earlier and wanted prayers for that. Doris, she's not doing real well.
She looked good.
So Doris did?
Yeah.
Janice did. She looked good. She looked like she.
Well, that's still not totally determined. But she's still better. And Doris got up this morning and then went to church and then had some coughing fits and some other stuff and decided she needed to stay home. So don't know if that's, leading to something or so.
Any others?
I know that Jean has something she's trying to say. She's typing it to me at the moment. Oh, there we go. It's a joy to see the service and to see Annie way down in Jackson. It's a joy to see the service and to see Annie way down in Jackson.
Oh, Annie's on it too?
Yep. And the sound, once Josiah turned you up.
Oh, we're good.
Yep.
Good. We're really, I guess we should have prayers for the electronic gizmos. for the knowledge to figure it out, something.
Right.
But we've been working on it every Sunday, a little something more. I did notice last week that my voice was clear, but you had to turn the volume up on the recording the whole way, and I couldn't really, deaf as I am, I couldn't really hear it real well. So, but at least the voice was clear. That's a step forward.
It is.
So we're hoping that this week that we might have it figured out. So. Any others? Yes. Yeah.
My brother David came to recover from COVID. He's getting stronger, but they found out he had melanoma on his back. And stage 1 right now. He's got to go down to Penn State and have to go down to back and see how hard it is.
One problem into the next.
Yeah. It's been going. I mean, he hasn't had any He turned 70 today, he's not happy.
No peace and joy.
But he did get a 10-point clock, I was happy about that. Yeah, it's been a really rough. Now he would just keep his mouth quiet about certain things in the political realm. Really thought that I'm telling him.
Some of the hot air that we were talking about. Okay. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Amen.
Yeah.
So far. Pretty good. My sister's stopped eating. She's lost weight. Just.
For your sister. Linda?
Just a general prayer for the planet and all the people in it. I haven't been going on the news as often as I usually do because I needed the break. But went on this morning and it was just one story after another. Somebody got shot, somebody got stabbed, war, starving. It just seems like, I mean, I know the problem is we have mass media and now we get all the news whenever we want it, but it just seems like we're spiraling and we could definitely spend some time praying for the planet.
There is a lot of good people in this world that are reaching out. One of the things that I see our cookie given away, there's a lot of people that a lot of stuff actually give away. So I mean, we are caring people. It's too bad that isn't brought up more. And the Santa stockings that people are contributing to for we are caring people. I keep lifting that up. We are caring people.
Yep.
And it's just sad that.
Well, caring people, I mean, I know we are. I mean, there are caring people in the world. The bad people seem to override the caring people, like what's going on in Ukraine, what's going on in Somalia, whatever. I mean, they're deliberately freezing these people out and starving them to death. Genocide. Yeah. I don't understand how the Lord keeps let this stuff go on.
That's a deep theological question and thought that I'm not really attempt. Like,
I know it's just self-horrific, and I don't. I mean, the other countries are trying to help and appease Russia, and I don't fly zone over there. I think for him, they should have asked it.
yes.
There was a family over in Lawrenceville, I don't know the name, but their home burnt down yesterday, I believe it was. So prayers for them, and also prayers for that Darren does not get laid off. They're talking to me when they have to shut down. That's kind of where
There is that talk around. There is people getting laid off.
Can I say another tour?
Sure.
I do think that generations coming up, and there's hope. So that part is a good
Mm-hmm.
We can't live forever. Well, really, that's not a lot. They had the Earth Shock Prize in Boston this weekend.
The what?
Earth Shock Prize. The Earth Shock Prize was developed by Prince William and some other high-ranking guy in Europe. But they have nominees from all over the world. They have 5 winners: one for the ocean, one for the air, one for the climate, one for the waste receptacle, things, and Manatee, air, water, there's another one. Anyway, there was one people in Kenya because they made these stoves for the African women to cook on instead of cooking on wood or whatever, and all this stuff up. These stoves keep the heat inside and they don't go on carbon dioxide. And it's hard, it's better for the environment and they don't have to use all our wood, you know, to cook. So that's one thing. Another thing, the guy in I can't remember the country there. What he's doing is he's taking carbon dioxide and he's pushing it back into pilot kite with water, and they're taking tons of carbon dioxide out of the air, pushing it back in the rock so that it doesn't warm the planet.
I did hear that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so these young kids, these people are trying to get something, this is from all over the world, and they have one down there. Coral reef and indigenous women of Australia that are looking out for the coral reef to keep them building so that people aren't throwing plastic and stuff. And another one's in Netherlands, and they're taking another one, they're going through all the canals and they're taking the plastic out of the canal because the canals go down into the ocean. So they removed like 8 tons a week, something like that. They removed. So they're trying to do this business worldwide. Get this process going. So these are really impressive things and things that are hopeful, you know, for the next generation and for our generation following us, that the world will still be a viable place.
So if you look at it, if you start out with the industrial age and how the industrial age is moving, so now we're moving to the point where we're starting to clean up all our scum. We've created all these technologies, you know, steel and all this kind of stuff. So now we have to go back and start cleaning all this mess up that we created in the process. And I think that's kind of what we're having. We're circling back around again, you know, before we move forward. I hope anyway. I do believe in the younger generation it is trying, and there's a lot of people with big money that are investing.
Yeah. Well, we have to be able to give that technology to third world countries that are coming up using our old technology to be able to advance themselves. Well, they're now polluting the planet more than.
Well, they'll jump in. They won't take the same path that we took. They'll just jump over and create this new, you know, solar and wind, and you know, they'll just jump completely over. That's what. Not everybody has to go the steps that we did. There'll be a jumping over, and they'll get this new technology. But I think that we don't realize that just having a stove to cook in is a big improvement. I mean, we take that for granted. You know, but a stove that doesn't have wood, I mean, burn up all the trees. I mean, the simplest things in life we just take for granted, okay, for sure. Bob.
I share Shane's depression about watching the news, but one thing I have noticed, we are a generation where we still watch the network news at 6:30. And I think all 3 of the major channels now close out their newscasts the last 5 minutes with a good news story. So that's, you know, you may want to not watch the first 20 minutes, but if you tune in ABC, CBS, or NBC for the last 10 minutes, it's a good antidote. Lots of good news stories.
Yeah.
And Gene added, the neat thing is that the reason that the bad news makes the news is because it's different than what normally happens. It's not the good stuff, because what is normal is the good stuff.
Yeah. That is something. But I agree that there's a lot of good things happening, for sure. But I do like the idea of people looking, considering the globe as a problem, not just a particular country. I think that also adds to the idea of church being more than just a building. It can become a globe. God's the love of the world, not just one particular spot. Any others? Let us join hearts and minds together in prayer. God, as we pause, grant us peace, grant us some sanctuary in our lives, in our hearts. It's easy to be carried away with all the news that's bad, but behind that, there are many, many, many good people, there are many, many good things. From the smallest to the greatest, all of us can participate. We have things that we are concerned about. Sarah is worried about being laid off. Yes, job is a very important thing in our lives. Or be with the people that make the decisions to lift up employment. But I actually be with those who are with us on Zoom. Bless their hearts. I should be with Janice, and she is caring for her elderly mother. It's difficult. Grant her the wisdom and the patience and the peace that she can care properly for those. Meg also went through an operation and be with her. We're thankful that doctors, people who dedicate their lives to help others. We're thankful. As she was shopping, as her leg heals, we ask for the healing to heal. Sharon mentioned her brother David. Medical issues along the way. It seems like one after the other. We'll just be with them. Not their 70th birthday. I already mentioned the family. Fire is an all-consuming thing. It can change your life very quickly. Be with them. Actually, be with Nick wherever he is at, expensive. It's involved in life. Be with Shane also. All of us here. Amber, it's nice to see her here. And she mentioned her sister. Not even. Just give her a desire to be hungry. Connie, who mentioned passing of Robert Wood, the family. She is blessed with a great family. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming. Speak with her and her family. Shane, who has lifted up the planet itself. We are thankful that people care for the planet. It's hard to do everything that you can. Sometimes we don't always have peace. We struggle with this, especially in this season of to be peaceful. I hope and peace and joy and love. Sometimes we get carried away with the season. Life requires us to be present. Be with us as we walk. Days ahead. We not only say and do the things we should. In Jesus' name. Join me now in the Lord's Prayer. Loving God in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread. Forgive us our sins as we forgive those who have sinned against us. Save us from the time of trial and deliver us from evil. For yours is the kingdom, power, and the glory forever. Amen. Turn to somebody and give them a short blessing for the week. And if there's somebody in the sounds of these words that need help, please reach out to somebody. Don't give up. The hymn of invitation is hymn 155. Angels we have heard on high. 155. now rise for the benediction. May God bless you and keep you all. And may God's face shine upon you. And may he be generous to each one of us. And may God look upon us with kindness. And may he grant us all a heart of peace.